隠れてチュッチュッチュの巻き。や伝説のツイストメンの巻き。や
MameHaze.
Hello and welcome. Let me just check this is all working. Yes, it appears to be working. Right. Okay, so I didn't get to do this other Easter streams, but I am back today, and we have once again got some Namco System 10 progress to show off because quite a few people have been busy on this over the last week. I mean, obviously Windy Fairy has been doing a lot of the driver side work, but also we have had Peter Williamson, who is in the chat right now, and Samuel Neves, or I think that's how you pronounce it, who have been working on the decryption. And the fact they've been working on the decryption means that we've now got quite a few more games that boot, including this very weird Japanese game called GAHAHA. And this is in fact the sequel that I was given the decryption code to just a few hours ago, in fact. So thank you very much, Peter, for that one, and Samuel too. I don't really speak with Samuel, but I know he's there working in the background to solve these problems with you, and it's really appreciated because without people like you, there's no chance these things would be running in MAME. So yes, thank you very much for all the work there. Much appreciated. Now, anyway, I'm guessing everything's working, so let's just have a look at who is here. We've got Carlo, so welcome Carlo. We've got Aussie Guy, who I'm sure will be dropping some facts. We've got T. Larnus, who is unfortunately at work, but hopefully you can catch up with some of it later. We've got Christian Di Martino. We've got Gary Haggard and Mog. Mog is here too. So Mog has been busy with some different Namco work in MAME. The System 23, one of the 3D ones. I don't think that's been committed yet, but when that is, we might have something to show there too. And Peter is here, as I mentioned, and I think that is our chat. So yes, the Japanese is a little weird, isn't it, Carlo? So, are we all good? Is everything working? I hope so. So, where should we go? Yep, you are there? Oh yes, you are there. You're taking a break from System 23 to avoid burnout. Looking at the loopy instead. Hopefully the loopy gets submitted soon, because that is definitely one that would be nice to see. Anyway, this is where I see if I can actually play this game. So let's turn the volume back up a little bit, and turn my volume back up a little bit here, and switch to this view and see what happens. Now, the current ROM file does need defaulting. Down here. The current ROM file does need defaulting because it defaults to free play at the moment, so I'll probably change that once the commit goes in. Working on the SH1 internal devices, yeah, I think that was why it wasn't submitted in the first place. But yeah, that'll help a few things, I think. Anyway, so I have configured this to work with a DualShock, hopefully. I say hopefully because I don't know for sure. It uses 2 analog joysticks, oddly. Now, you wouldn't think it from the mini games, but it does. Shall we go with What should we go with? So a lot of these mini games are from the older version. So they sort of just added some new games in this one. But the old games are here, including the cow game. The cow game is in this one, as far as I know. So these joysticks look a lot like eyeballs. I don't know if that's the idea. But each player has 2 analog joysticks and 2 buttons, apparently. So you got to kiss when Daddy is not looking. Oh. Did we do it? Oh, I think we did it. Yeah, Peter did send that just a moment before. He surprised me too. I mean, 1 minute he's telling me that GAHAHA 2 is the most difficult one with 4 non-linear bits, and the next minute he's sending me the description code for it. So, yeah, here it is. This is this one's only in Japanese. There might be an undumped English set of it, but say the dumped set is Japanese. But yeah, it's nice to get them in here. So again, we're pushing the joysticks together to catch the balls, are we? Any we're not meant to catch? No. Well, don't catch the bombs. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's timing. Will they get faster? Ooh, probably a good job I missed that one. But yeah, we'll be looking at this one. We'll probably take a look at the original game too. I think all the games are in it, but it's nice to play in English. Yeah, I do like some of these mini-game collections Burn Type are. They're... so we've got to... Oh, this one we're pressing the buttons, okay. So it's very much like DualShock, I guess, just oversized DualShock controls where you press them down like L3, R3. Well, I've not configured it like that. But... yeah, this is one for the Halloween stream, isn't it? Dracula has been shot. There's still a Dracula game that isn't dumped, isn't there? One of those long-lost arcade games of the late 70s or early 80s. Probably early 80s is still missing. I think Peter was interested in trying to find that one too, but no such luck so far. That's a very old one. Hey, Andre Borges. Am I going to work on the fruit machines? They're not currently a priority. There are other people working on them. It's okay. This one requires coordination. I mean, they require coordination, but you can swap your hands in the wrong place on this one. These look like Dracula's hands. I don't know. Maybe he just wants the blood to drink. Choco Raider's kind of silly in a supernatural sort of way with all the alien abductions and things. This is just absurd in entirely its own way. So yeah, I failed some of them. So the structure is kind of similar. There's no dice rolling in this one. Oh, okay, not playing yet. There's no dice sort of board game structure to this one. You just seem to choose the events, at least in the mode I've selected. I don't know if there's any skill here. I don't think it's just a fucking match, isn't it? No one. Vampire from Brash International. Yeah, that's one of your most wanted. Who knows if it will turn up. There's also that Dracula's Castle magnet system game where the only disc we found was unfortunately damaged. Oh, here we go. Here is our cow game. Dracula Hunter from Tencon. So there's Dracula Hunter and Vampire. Okay, I'm getting the two mixed up. There were Dracula games and Vampire games missing. There we go. There we go. Yes, here is our Nam cows. Let's see if we can do this. Cow is not here for this. Maybe for the best. Maybe Cow will not approve. Yep, that is the cow. It's almost like the script was already written out. It's like a Namco game with cows in it. I mean, it's not Final Lap. It's not Final Lap. I mean, I don't think there's a Final Lap special edition with cows, unfortunately. But yes. That Namco logo I made ages ago, kind of just perfect fit. Yes, moo. They were moo. So what do we do here? Move left and right. And lick things. I'm assuming I avoid the egg. It's like the crystal maze. Except goal. Failed. Under Defeat has cows. Under Defeat's Naomi though, isn't it? So might be a bit tricky. I could run it very slowly probably. What should we do? Don't know what this one is. Under Defeat. I've got Under Defeat on the PS3 as well. Not one to play much of. I found it a little bit awkward. This one's going to require knowledge of Japanese, isn't it? This one might. I might just fail. Hey, R09. I'm assuming this is like which one's less or small, or I don't know. Well. I didn't really stand a chance because I didn't know what it was asking. Under Defeat needs a sequel. Who made Under Defeat? I can't remember. Is it one of those companies that is still around or not? What should we go? This one. This one looks absurd. GRAV. Are they still around? Yeah, the company that did Border Down, aren't they? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jesus Christ. We've got Jesus Christ following. Okay. What are we doing here? Oh, I think we're going to avoid the kisses. Nope, put another credit in and continue with this very silly game. Yeah. I thought I was doing better than this, but I failed three of the 4 games. But it's fun. Oh, this is we saw this one in the previous game, so it's just yeah, button bashing. Oh, yeah, the notifications come from both places. 316. I don't really use Twitch much. It's sort of my back of YouTube ends up in a bad place. I don't know. All these platforms make changes, and some of those changes aren't the best. At the moment, YouTube still seems to be the best place for me to be streaming. But if that changes, I do have Twitch there as a backup option. I may do the odd Twitch stream anyway, just to make sure it stays active actually, but at the moment I do YouTube, yes. But thank you for following on Twitch too, just in case I do start doing more on there. So bash the second button and collect coins. Don't let the building get up. Okay. But yeah, this progress has been submitted, so this will be in the next MAME release, which will be the end of the month. This doesn't look like a good place for a little clown, Red Riding Hood clown. Very dangerous. I got 14, I think I passed that one. Yeah, 0.254 is going to be a big release with all this Namco stuff. I mean, 253 was a pretty good release with the hyper progress too, even though they're not promoted yet. But yeah, there's quite a lot of good things going on at the moment. Hey, awesome panda! Hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. Let's do this one. Yeah, these games are addictive, especially I'm actually with 2 players because they're party games. So having a second player would obviously make it even more entertaining. So I think you get 1 attempt to do it, don't you? It's wait. No, missed. That is a timing one. There was a timing one I saw on the other game as well, where there's a knife dropping down. I'll really consider this one. Yeah, I mean, when the year System 10 got done was always going to be a big year. It's one of those things that we've been waiting for a long time. And say it's all come together quite quickly. We'll have to see how realistic the rest of the decryption is. Obviously, we do have the best possible people working on that. Oh, it's like an avalanche. But I'm just growing an afro here. And it fell off. What? There are still System 10 games that need to be found and dumped. A lot of the System 10 games are those coin pushers, though. I mean, unless you simulate the rest of the hardware, the coin pusher, they're not going to really do much. It's quite odd that you got so many coin pushers on there. But you did. What on earth am I doing here? Okay, I think I get it. As long as the buttons are the right way around, I should be okay. Oh, you do it faster. Pride GP 2003 for Capcom. I've never heard of that one, Aussie. But yeah, I'd say I don't know what the rest of the year is going to bring. Mog did mention that they were working on Casio Loopy, which obviously is an arcade progress, but is still a big system that MAME doesn't get right yet. I mean, not a successful system, but an important system. You know, it was one of those attempts to bring gaming to girls, although they just decided to make a sticker machine. But yeah, that's quite an interesting piece of hardware too, so it'll be interesting to see if a homebrew scene develops around that once it's emulated, because apparently it's a lot more powerful than any of the games, any other games really let on. No, I failed that one.
You lose.
Right, so it's the baby game. Okay. Again, this one was in the first game. So I think I passed that one. No? Was it too slow? Don't know. I thought I passed that one. I don't know how many games in total there are on this, mini games, but clearly there are quite a lot, especially as it seems to... I'm assuming it includes all the old ones, unless they've dropped a few. Okay. Move the cursor. And fire. That's a very... And one of the other big games that's not working yet is Pom Line 3, obviously. But that's not been decrypted yet. Yeah, System 10. It's like the budget system, so the sort of cheap and cheerful games. Although I wouldn't really call these cheap and cheerful in the sense that they seem quite high budget. I mean, there's a lot of content in these. It's not just some thrown together collection. It's clearly had a lot of work put into it. But it's definitely the platform for puzzle games and apparently coin pushers. And of course, then you've got Gamshower, which what? Oh, it's like Hammer Boy. What? Not Hammer Boy. Oh, that's not what I meant. You can't just hold down the button because the water comes out. Yeah, I mean, Konami, I think, used the 573 platform in a similar way, didn't they? They usually put a lot of minigame collections and the like on it. I don't know what that one is. That's the knife one. What's the one? Let's just do the knife one. This is another tiny one. I will fail this one, I'm sure. So... press the button at the right time. Well, there you go. Blood is blue. Anything that requires like quick reactions is quite tricky. I think input latency from the whole setup I've got here isn't helping. Golgo 13. Yes, that's one I can show off. It's got no music yet though, Golgo 13, because it uses an MP3 decoder chip. But Windy Fairy did get the game running. I don't quite get what I was meant to be doing on this one. Or just... oh, copy? Okay. Yeah, I'd say Gamshower does stand out as a bit different. If you don't like mini games and you don't want coin pushers, then yeah, you've got Gamshower. So I think after this credit, we'll move on to the first game in the series. Oh, okay. This feels very unnatural. Now it has turned into Choco Vader. You think Golgo 13 on System 10 was Rising's last arcade release before becoming 18? Did Metro have any other games on later platforms, or are these the last Metro games on this platform too? You don't hear much about Metro, but they seem to have been involved in a lot of things. Their names seem to be all over the place. What am I doing? Okay. Bungee jump romance? I don't know. Is this Donald Trump? Possibly. I thought one of the babies looked a bit like Donald Trump, to be honest. So, yes, GAHAHA 2, which is a Japanese set. There may be an English one that is undumped, but yes, we just have the Japanese set for now. But if you do want to play some of those games in English, then the first game, the set of the first game that is dumped is the English set. So we'll switch over to that now. Metro mostly work with Namco. The names on some PGM stuff as well, isn't it? I think Puzzle 2 and Puzzle Star were licensed from Metro, weren't they? The concept, something like that. Which is kind of makes sense because Puzzle Star is basically that Dahan game from their own platform. And Puzzle 2 is a sequel to Puzzle on the Metro platform. Eureka! I've just been playing a load of that Labyrinth of Galeria game, where the character's called Eureka. Oh yeah, this one also defaults to free play at the moment. Hold on. So I will make sure these are initialized before the main release. It stores all the settings in the main flash ROM, and obviously the dumps came from machines that have been used and presumably set to free play at some point. That would be an odd one, Toastman Jack. That game threw me off. I thought it completed because I got the end credits. Then it turns out the new game sort of option, where it says you want to start the game, you know, from the beginning of the story, is a completely new story and game, new areas. It's not just like New Game Plus. It's basically you've only done half the game at that point. So yeah, I've gotten a video of this track mode of this running on my channel before the controls were added. But this one's got a story to it. Maybe the other one's got a story, but not in the mode selected. Talking about his breakfast. I might have to do a Metro special at some point though, because there's quite a lot of good Metro stuff. Oh, we're starting with the kissing game again. The one we started with last time. You don't want a Metro string, Carlo. See, this one tells you to beware of Daddy now, so you know you've got to beware of Daddy. Don't let Daddy see you kissing. So hopefully we'll actually get some games we didn't get on the previous one. Look, we got the fly clapping one again, the mosquito one again. You see, you can see what the stages are called now. Nightmare on a really hot night. Hey Pika, hello from England, back to Switzerland. So, yeah, at the moment we're playing games that you have already seen before when I played them in the sequel. I don't mind it when sequels contain the older games. Sort of it's like a plus version. I mean, my original plan for the Easter stream, the sequels and rebirths, was to sort of look at this type of thing. Games where the sequels were not necessarily entirely new content, but just built on what was there before, or you know, very similar games just with new sets of levels and things like that. So if I was still going with that theme, then these would have been covered. But by the time Pete had said that this one had been decrypted, well, the second one has been decrypted, I'd already decided I was just going to do a general stream for today. Let go of the joystick. Oh, I'm drowning. Failed. Yeah. No, I've got a DualShock. Hey Thomas, welcome, welcome. This game is perfect for a DualShock, really, because it's a double analog stick game. Shoot the little mobsters. Oh, don't think we played this one before, did we? Yeah, it's a party game. I don't have anybody else here to play two-player mode with, but it's still enjoyable with a single player. Come on.
Ready?
I only had to get 5 of them on that stage. That was a bit easy. Different Metro. Metro 3D is a different Metro. Yeah, sorry, I missed the original comment there for Macedonia. No, we've got this again, have we? Left and right. Not very good at these ones. The one that ate the most. The translation is not perfect, is it? Stop.
Ready?
Oh. Set up a server. I mean, if MAME gets built-in netplay, maybe, but I don't really know how well it would work. I'd rather not be using any of the insecure solutions to do that. To a dancing one. I don't know if I like it better with this sort of board game structure, or if I just like to be able to select the events. I suppose if you're playing with multiple players and you just want to pick your favourite events, it makes more sense to do it the way the sequel did it. So, got to do left, rights, and ups, down. Okay. But this one, yeah, this one, I don't like this one. Okay. That's perfectly normal. That one required better coordination. You had to use both joysticks in the same direction at once. And my coordination is terrible. ScumVM just enabled online play for backyard basketball. I don't think I've ever played backyard basketball, Thomas. Oh, we've done the hair growth one. This one is quite tricky. You don't get much time to react. You can... You can see when they're about to fall because they go yellow. do it. I does Freddy Fish support net play? Again, I've never played that one. Backyard baseball. I think there were some plug and play games based on that that aren't dumped yet. Some sort of backyard baseball or basketball thing. I think I sent some to Sean. Don't hit the memory glass. Where do they come up with these ideas? What is it? Oh. My timing, no. Yeah, multiplayer point and click would be a strange genre. I'm sure you could do it, but and then you need multi-mouse and things like that, though, and it gets messy. I mean, obviously multi-mouse is a thing, but it's everybody's favourite event again. Minigame, even. Event? No, they're events. Quickly.
Ready?
There we go. They added local networking to the original scum of it. So is this the first time it's been emulated with networking anywhere? I mean, maybe you could have run it in the mess, well, the old mess PC drive that's now in MAME. I don't know. Don't know when it would have had networking. I don't know. Did it have networking at all when it was just mess? I don't know. Maybe it's only a MAME thing.
Ready?
I don't know. Cows milking cows, indeed. When was networking stuff added to the main PC drivers? Was it done back when it was mess, or is it a more recent thing? Or did they even work well enough when it was mess? I don't remember. One of the problems with doing any kind of online stuff is security, though. Some of these older games have security exploits that can probably be leveraged. Okay, this seems inappropriate.
Ready?
You have to spin one stick and move the other. Yeah. Parsec. I don't know what works in MAME. You think it's been made in since the mess days? It could be. It's. I mean, the merger happened so long ago now. It's really difficult to remember what mess could and couldn't do. Chat box is overlapping. Apparently there are 2 copies of the chat thing in there, so yeah, let's fix that. There you go.
Ready?
So, well, I guess anybody reading the chat will just have to look at the actual chat, not the chat on the video. I don't know how that happened. I swear I haven't actually changed anything, but yeah, Windy Fairy and Peter and Samuel have done a really good job of getting this all up and running. I mean, Windy Fairy for the driver's side work, and obviously Peter and Samuel for the working out the keys, you know, taking on the work that Andreas started. Anyway, you've just arrived, yo-yo mate. Well, you've missed a good 40 minutes of GAHAHA, the sequel and the original game. But I think we will now move on to one of the other Namco System 10 games. Now, the one I'm going to put on next, I will admit I'm not going to be able to play. So this is just a sort of sneak preview. Now, be warned, the first time around the attract mode, the sound is pretty... Oh, it's not working. Hold on, I think I've got to... There we go. I had some old files with the bad dump. So, yeah, that wasn't going to work. Here we go. You think the song seems a bit jungle tack? I'm not sure Meta will appreciate the comparison there. You just assume that MAME must support everything forever ago. Some people still seem to assume that. It's not always true. So this weird noise in the background does go away after the first track loop, so we'll let that happen. Now, as I said, this game I am not going to be able to play. It requires knowledge of Japanese. Did this get an English release in some under some other names? Yeah, I mean, it's confusing to me. I can only show that it runs. And it's got an interesting style to it, very minimal sort of graphics, but lots of rotation and lots of colour changing. Never got released outside of Japan. I mean, it looks a bit like Scrabble, but I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, then is it score? Does it give you a score based on the word you've chosen? Crossword with Scrabble. Yeah, I guess this one didn't get localized in anywhere. Yeah, it does have quite a modern look. Saying that these System 10 games are definitely stylish. So you see, now it's not going to have the extra sound in the intro. But yes, if you know Japanese, then this one will also be playable. I mean, I can coin it up. I can select an option. I can choose a fish. I did something. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm using the standard CRT GM Deluxe. It doesn't always work too well on the high resolution games like this, but I don't know. I don't have it tweaked for every screen resolution. I had a clue what any of this was. I'm quite amused that I managed to complete levels without having a clue what I'm doing. Apparently the guy who designed this memorised pi to 45,000 digits. Is that food placement, Jack, or have you just decided to randomly make that up? Now it's got arrows in the playfield. I've just learned Japanese. Yes. Okay. Okay. Can't do anything with that one? Okay. Now I don't know what I'm doing. And I can pretend. I guess it would be very difficult to make an actual scramble game using these rules, because it seems to rely on lots of two-letter, well, you know, two-square combinations, which wouldn't really work with English, would it? What you saw on Wikipedia. I got some real words without trying. Excellent. Now things get rotated now, dudes. Well, I hope I'm at least showing some of the game. I mean, the music is very catchy too. I'm sure this is going to get some sort of content match. I'm going to have to mute it later, but never mind. Somebody is probably just watching this and going, no. Is there anything out here? So basically you have to reach a target score, and I didn't, so I had to remove pieces. Yeah, I'm sure if I knew Japanese, this would actually be a lot of fun. Presentation is, you know, top notch, and it seems fun, even though I don't know what I'm doing. Surely seeming fun is half of being fun. Oh dear. You've got to reach a target. I think if you get 3 tile words, you probably get more points. But I'm not sure. I don't know how the scoring works. Even the name entry stuff like this. Very well presented. I don't know what level of Japanese it needs. R09 says maybe a basic knowledge, so maybe. but it seems like a nice little idea. So that is another Namco System 10 game that will be working in the next version of MAME. So there you go. There you go. We'll leave it there though. We'll leave it there. Right. My name is now AAE. Well, AAE will do me fine. Okay. So. Okay. I'll show this. It's not really playable. Hold on. What am I doing? This is one of the ones that's sort of a coin pusher type thing. It boots, but that's about all it does. It runs a few demo scenes. The sound doesn't work. If you go into the sound test, it still only plays a like half a second's clip and then just fails. So there's definitely some issues. Although without the rest of the hardware emulated, it's not going to be too interesting anyway. I don't know if this is sort of the main screen or one of the screens inside the coin push units, because I think if you look up videos of this, it seems to be some of the cabinets are linked up style cabinets. So I don't know if this is one of those, or if this is actually just a standalone machine. I think for some of the medal games, they do have a big screen, and you can link them up, so each one might have a System 10 board. It's not really clear, but yeah, this one's sort of this demo mode, which I don't know what it's saying, if this is meant to run all the time or if this is meant to run when you insert a coin. It's a little bit meaningless, but yeah, anyway, we'll speed through this. No, not like that. We'll speed through this. Yeah, so, and eventually it will just hang. It'll get to the title screen and now nothing works. Can't insert coin, can't do anything. So that's all this one does. So it's been decrypted, but yeah, I think we go sound test. You can do the speaker test. Then you go. I don't know why the font changes when you do this. Then you do this and it doesn't really play anything. If you're lucky, it will play. It's not playing anything now. Sometimes you get it to play like a little bit of one tune, but it doesn't want to play any of them now. Oh, we get error codes. Yeah, it's not going to play the songs. Anyway, so there's not much to show with that one. Pac-Man Ball is not yet decrypted, John. One of the, is Pac-Man Ball the one that's a bad? No, I think. Hold on. Can't remember which one was decrypted. Was it Pac-Man Ball that was a bad dump, or Puzzle Ball that was a bad dump? Hold on. Pac-Man Ball is a bad dump, so yeah, that one's not going to run. We did that one did get decrypted, but doesn't run because it's a bad dump, so that needs redumping. So yeah, the Puzzle Ball thing might be a good dump, which looks like a very similar sort of game, but that one's not been decrypted yet. Anyway. What next? So, what was I going to show? Where is it? That's what the set name is. So this is the other one. Yeah, Golgo 13. That is the other one. Now this one does have an MP3 decoder chip on the board. It's a unique ROM board, so the background music is missing. I don't know how to play this game. I realise this is like the third game in the series, and I've never played any of them. It looks a bit silent scopy, but yeah, this one does require you to initialize the gun. Ooh, so let's move around. Nope, that's the wrong button. I'll get here in the end. There we go. Shoot that. Again, this is likely, the calibration data is likely stored in the flash ROMs, so they might end up being initialized by the time the release comes as part of the clearing of them. There we go. So, right. Let's get out there. Shoot people with no remorse. Well, let's let the attract mode play. I know it's got a sort of scope type toggle where you're zooming in or not zooming in, so that's something I've got to keep in mind. I don't know what anything's mapped to, but I guess the fun will be finding out. So I'm assuming there should be some music here, and then say the MP3 decoder chip is not yet emulated, because attract sound is clearly on. I wonder if the any of the other music games use a decoder chip. It'd be a bit odd if the only game using a decoder chip wasn't even a music game. Got to be better than the CDI one. Maybe I should have been playing the CDI. I don't know if the CDI one requires the video adapter though, the digital video card. The only Golgo 13 game plays on the NES, so you have no clue. So, yeah. Interestingly, this one does have a language option in the service mode, but you can't change it from Japanese. But it might mean there are other versions of it about. I don't know. I have no idea how popular Golgo 13 was even outside of Japan. So, yes. The cabinet gun. The CDI one doesn't use the video card. Okay. So I guess this is just training then. I'm assuming the speech as well. That's probably done by the MP3 chip. It seems like it should be saying things. I just shot a dog in the eye. It's a quiz game. Oh dear. The CDI one's a quiz game. Not really what you want from something that seems to be all about shooting. So yeah, this would probably have narration right now with the MP3 chip. Music and yeah. The game, I think with the basic sound effects working, you can still consider it playable. Oh, Liverpool. Read that. Liverpool 1, somebody else 15. That's not a very good score. So we go here. Okay. I thought because it had a dog on the picture, I was meant to shoot the dog. I was not meant to shoot the dog. Yeah, System 16 is not always correct. System 16 does seem to have some games listed as System 10 that aren't. Yes, I made a mistake. There's a dog on the picture, so I thought I was meant to shoot the dog. I thought it was like the dog was going to bite somebody and I had to shoot the dog before it bit somebody. That wasn't very clever. Yeah, well, System 16's got Kuroku Food Fever as System 10 when it seems to be Alex 64, unless it was on both, but there's no real evidence it's on both. It's not always easy to get the right information. It looks to be, well, it's meant to be the third in the series, isn't it, Mr. Fungi? So I guess it's going to be similar. I've not played any of them. I didn't really. For some reason, I thought they were not ones that would be playable on a PC. I thought they were more like Silent Scope, where it's a bit of a mess because you've got two screens, but I was wrong. I know, just boggy. I thought it was the game. Embarrassingly enough. Now I'm shooting UFOs. Oh, no. Ooh. Okay, they're not UFOs because they're not flying. Not really sure that's what you meant to use a sniper rifle for. But at least didn't shoot a dog this time. I think the scope thing seems to be a novelty. You obviously can't shoot anything on the far out view. Share some levels. Is System 10 the remix platform then? Is it like PGM2 where you've just got remixes of other games? I mean, Mr. Driller G is just like Mr. Driller 2 with loads more content. GAHAHA 2 is like GAHAHA with more content. This apparently is the previous Golgo 13 games with more content. Shoot soldiers, maybe. They're a masterclass in style, are they, Megalo? Yeah, I do associate Rising more with shooters than this type of thing. Also, be sure to check out Brave Blade, because that one often gets overlooked. That's on PlayStation type hardware. It doesn't quite have the same nice pixel art style as the others, but it's still a good game. It doesn't look bad. You think once I shoot a dog I have a reputation? Okay, well, I will not shoot any more dogs. I promise. Unless the game requires me to, but I don't really go out my way to shoot dog. Yes. This is why I should only play games where the instructions are in English. Then I would have known not to shoot the dog. I don't know what I'm doing. They also made Bloody Roar, yes, and the sequel. Shoot the pieces from stack columns. It's up here. Wrong diamond. It's possible that there is English in this, because I'm a bit suspicious of that selector where it says Japanese. I can skip the story, right? So, yeah, it doesn't mean shoot the big diamond. It means zoom in and shoot the diamond. I tried to shoot that diamond. What just happened to the sound? That was some nasty sound. Let's not do the diamond one. What am I doing here? So I don't think that sound problem was anything to do with missing MP3. That just sounded like corrupt audio. I shot the guy. I'm not a very good aim. Yeah, maybe it would have been difficult to distribute internationally than MAME. I mean, Namco are pretty good at securing rights to things, though. Oh, I failed something. Does seem a bit empty without the rest of the audio. I'm guessing there's like 4 sets of stages. shoot the guys who are going to shoot you in the head. Oh. Ow. I think you have to clear all the stages to actually get to the next one too, because it's making me repeat. No, is it not? I don't know. Hey, Umberto. Shoot guy in head. Okay. Oh, it's this one again. Didn't I do this one? Or did I miss? Oh. Yeah, I missed. Let's try again. It's got to let me pass at some point. Into round 2. Where there will hopefully be a dog that I don't shoot. What does it say target there? Am I shooting the wrong guy? Oh, no, maybe, possibly. That one looks fun. Oh. I'm not good at shooting what I meant to shoot. This is why you don't hire me as a sniper. Dogs die, wrong people die. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Probably a nuclear explosion. What am I meant to shoot? That wasn't very clear. They show you a target and they obscure it. In that case, I didn't see any target at all. It just seemed to be a big machine, so I just shot part of it. Now I can definitely shoot helicopters. Oh dear. Maybe I shouldn't be allowed to play this game. Oop. Oop. So I go from destroying an entire city to not being able to destroy a single helicopter. Shooting flowers? You're going to go crazy with this when the next release comes out. I'm assuming you do a bit better than I'm doing. I mean, I'm assuming, yeah, if you like the series, you're probably going to appreciate it. If you're good at light gun games and aiming at things, then yeah. So I shoot the guy with the question mark on. Okay. I have to shoot somebody. Did I shoot the wrong guy again? Yeah, Panikuru isn't decrypted yet, mega low. Anyway, Golgo 13, part 3. I've shot dogs, destroyed cities, failed to shoot the right people, and now there's a skeleton there for no apparent reason. I get snipe code to enter at namco.com. I probably shouldn't do that. It probably will register me as a dog killer. I'm no Golgo 13. I might have to play the other games in the series on a stream at some point, see what they're like. Because say I've just completely overlooked them. Not really knowing what they were, but since this one got decrypted, I thought, you know what, I should give it a try, shouldn't I? I should give it a try. So, is there anything else to show from this lot? I have shown Gamshow in English before. How you get that? Mr. of the G's is not done yet. GJ Spacer played. Knockdown 2001's a bad dump. NFL Classic Football is not yet playable. There's no inputs. Well, there's inputs, but no trackball. The other one that boots... Again, this is one of the coin pusher type cabinets. So this isn't going to be too interesting to watch. Yes, but this is Pom Line. It's one of those where it's dropping coins through slots, and then when the coins drop through the slots, they trigger things on the screen, and you're making lines that way. Basically, it's a coin pusher with bonus coin features based on the video screen. I'm sure it could be hooked up so you're pressing different buttons for the different sensors, a bit like the pinball games are, but it's never really going to be playable as such because it needs the whole dropping mechanism. Yeah, somebody mentioned the Golgo 13 on the NES. I might have to have a look at that one. Is that a bit different, or is that a gun style game too? But you can see there's a sonic spring there which balls drop on, and yeah, it's got really awful sound, and is obviously just a cheap gambling game, a visual novel type thing. I guess that's going to be a bit tricky to play unless it's translated, or unofficially or officially. Anyway, you get the idea. Pom Line is, say, a coin pusher type thing. It's one of the few games that I've seen that's got a typeface copyright on the title screen. And since there's nothing happening, I guess nothing happens in this part of the trap mode. So that's that one. There's a fan translation that requires a custom patcher. It's a no pre-patched version. As nobody actually made physical cartridges with the thing on. Anyway, so they say the Taiko games aren't yet decrypted. The first one of those isn't dumped. Some of them don't have a CD dumps either. Mr. Driller 2. We did play that one. Has everybody seen the code for getting the unlock? I don't. It's a bit too long to do. There's a ridiculously long code on Mr. Driller 2 to unlock the special stage. I can't remember if I've got it unlocked on this or not, to be honest. I might have to show that at some point, but I've not got it noted down at the moment, so that's a bit tricky. Yeah, it's a coin pusher, it's gambling, it's... there's a lot of those on the platform. There's like 8 of those on the very similar cabinets, which they decided to use System 10 for. I mean, the good thing is, Peter will say this, if, having all these games to decrypt gives us a better idea of how the encryption works. So everyone is actually useful in terms of, refining how the encryption code works and working out what the limits are, what it can do, what it can't do, and coming up with a better implementation. So despite them, not being games you're going to want to play, they're still actually really handy to have around. Anyway, so I think that is pretty much that for now. What else was there? What else is there to talk about? So I'm not too prepared here. So I've got a list of other random games that I may play. I may go to just let's go to a home computer game for a bit. Let's play a bit of Amstrad CPC 464 just to break things up a bit. So, you know, this is a recent game called Penguin Attack. Now, this one you do have to pay to download. The original version was a competition game, but the final version is not. I think it's only about £1.50 though. It's got quite a Konami feel to it. Sort of early arcade feel to it, so I thought it would be quite a good fit. So there we go, Penguin Attack from last year. Yeah, Driller 2 will sound better than the last one because the pitch is right now, but I think I might play Driller 2 when Driller G gets done, just so that we can compare them. Hey Justin, welcome. So yeah, the only thing I think this is really missing is a proper track mode. It does just loop the title screen, but otherwise, this is a nice little arcade style game where you're a penguin. Avoid the snowballs. Unfortunately, I've only played it once before. You quite like penguins, do you? And you need to have another sort of weather themed stream, snow and ice or wind and rain. I don't know how you avoid if there's a jump button or something like that, or if once they throw something at you, that's it. Not familiar with Euro computers. They've still got really good development scenes surrounding them. It's one of the strong things with them. Oh yeah, you can slide, that's how you avoid them. I remember now. Don't think you can hit him from there. Gotta get the timing right. Yeah, that's what I got to, but very sort of Antarctic adventure. The tunes are quite Konami-like as well from the era. Things like Ping Pong. Yeah, don't slide that. I can get off stage 1. So yes. Catch fish, don't catch fish. Also, the way you slide reminds me a bit of, you know, Cabal and Gamshower. In that you jump, but in this one you can slide to avoid things. Obviously not got a crosshair on this one, but otherwise it sort of feels similar. There we go. Oh, you recognise the name, do you, Peter? I'm not sure I recognise the name, but Amiga chiptunes are always good. Have been some Amiga improvements in MAME lately too. Once you get the hang of it, it's not too difficult. Now, I didn't add to this to the software list, so the name isn't in the bar at the bottom, but this is Penguin Attack. Bit like Shootout from Day 2 East, yes, Aussie guy. Yeah, I mean, I had a Spectrum first, then I had a CPC. The CPC was sort of my first machine that had a disk drive and stuff, so it was a big step up from the Specky. So I do try and follow the modern scene. Why am I failing on the first level again? So yeah, this is on itch.io on the developer's site. I think it's €1.99, so about £1.50 if you want to pay for it. And you know, I don't. If the game's that cheap, I don't mind. I mean, it's cheaper than the budget games were back in the day. And obviously, a considerable amount of time has been put into developing it. No, Peter was showing me some recent C64 games as well, and they look pretty good. MAME C64 is not quite up to scratch for a lot of them, especially ones that are in special effects. Similar to the Amstrad, where the more advanced effects don't work. But a lot of the Amstrad games aren't really using those effects. I mean, this is just making quite basic use of the hardware, really, to do a fun little game that I'm doing terribly at. But it's about getting the aim right, standing in the right place. Once you know exactly where you're meant to stand for each enemy, you're okay. In that sense, it reminds me of Berserk. Berserk is all about those precise shots from exactly the right place. I mean, that's what sort of makes Berserk as a game as well. It's such a simple concept, but it's about the precision. I mean, the CV1000 changes definitely highlight the fact that the CPU speed adjustments are needed. Part of me wonders if the CPU really runs as fast as we say it does, because most of the people saying to get the right speed, you need about half the usual CPU clock. But it might just be that the wait states are that extreme. I mean, the hardware does seem quite cheaply made. I'm guessing you have to clear all the enemies on one life or you don't get to the next stage. There we go. Hey T Linus and hey Mike, welcome you too. You've missed the System 10 games. So if you want to see those, feel free to sort of rewind a little bit. If you'd rather just engage in the conversation, then you know, feel free to watch them later. All the greatest games with simple design, yeah. There are a lot of very simple, addictive games that just worked, and people built off the top of those. I mean, if you look at Frenzy compared to Berserk, Frenzy just doesn't really work. It's just with the bouncing bullets, and it's lost a lot of the charm because it loses the simplicity. So here we are. It's nice the way they move around. It's a proper snowball fight, isn't it? Played some bad snowball fight games in my time as well. There's a few on those plug and plays. Oh, second stage clear this time. FM Town. Yeah, I should do some more FM Towns stuff, because MAME's FM Town support is pretty good. I mean, I've not got a list at the moment, but yes, I should prepare a list of FM Towns games to play at some point. And be an igloo. And that is my lives done. Was the FM Towns Chase HQ the one that's very flat, though? I seem to remember one of them having no hills, and it really takes away from the game. Actually, weren't there some changes to the Casio PV 1000 or 2000 in MAME at the moment? I don't know which games to check for those. I did an entire video stream dedicated to the Casio PV systems, but I don't know which one's changed. Anyway, that was a, say, Penguin Attack for the Amstrad CPC. A nice little modern game from last year, and definitely one worth trying out. Let's have some fun. So we've been doing Namco, and you know, the Driller. We didn't do Mr. Driller today, but we've looked at Mr. Driller before. But this is a fun little knockoff. This is mrdig, which runs on a Hyperstone-based board. And this one is noteworthy simply because they basically copied every scene from Mr. Driller, redrawn it all. That's all their own art, but every sequence, every scene is copied straight from Mr. Driller. So, my favourite Chase HQ port is the Amstrad one. It is kind of slow, but the gameplay really is intact. It's amazing what they got out of an 8-bit system. It shouldn't really be possible. I mean, yeah, it might run at about 10 frames a second, but it plays really well, and it looks really good. I had ports to the Amiga after that, and I hated it. I played 16-bit ports on the consoles. I hated them. That Amstrad version was still more fun. Hey, Melotti. Happy with the return of their lives. Hopefully the dogs have been brought back to life. Who is responsible for this? Sun. A company called Sun. Not Sun Electronics, just Sun. But yeah, it's... they went to all this effort just to make their own version of Mr. Driller. The FM Town ones plays a lot better with the analog pad. Amstrad is definitely worth checking out. A lot of the older software is just bad specky ports, unfortunately. But the newer software, there's a lot of really good software being developed for it. I mean, it's got a fantastic port of Pinball Dreams. Unfortunately, it doesn't really run in MAME, because it uses lots of advanced tricks, but yeah, this is the only complete knockoff of Mr. Driller I'm aware of. It also throws in some of the more difficult elements, like those bombs from the start. Also, I did really badly. But yes, 100% original code. They wrote this from scratch. It's not a port from a home system. They really wanted to make their own arcade version of Mr. Driller. Call it mrdig. I mean, it's not awful. Uh-oh. There's a bomb. Get away. Legally distinct, yes. Yes, probably the same son that did misncrft. It seems more difficult than Mr. Driller. Yeah, he still uses a drill, not a shovel. I'm assuming this isn't this Mr. Dig is not related to any of the characters in Star Trek. This is not like the evil stepdad. Apparently, it's on beginner. Anyway, this is a 1,000-meter challenge. Now, I've not seen anybody do a 1cc of this. I don't like those bombs. You watch people play, though, Mr. Driller. And they make it look so easy. I try and play Mr. Driller, or any clone of, and just die repeatedly, over and over again. I guess it's about knowing what's not going to fall on and what is going to fall on you. But... apparently I'm atrocious at Mr. Dig. Had this been a home port of the game to a much weaker system back in the day, you probably wouldn't have minded it, but this came out in the arcades. And you know, Mr. Driller wasn't even really one of the more expensive Namco games. It must have been an odd market for this. In this world, Mr. Dig's dad was from Drill Drug. Definitely somebody was on drugs when they decided to make this. Yeah, so the sound isn't really emulated on it, but yes. The same son that made misncrft. There you go, the same sun logo, you see. I don't know if the bug on this where after like about an hour it starts going all funny was ever fixed, which is a protection check or not. But in this case, they didn't draw entirely their own graphics. Nope, in this case, they stole the graphics. Thiefcraft, yes. Our QDSP sound emulation is so bad. I mean, there are meant to be sound effects, but they're buried somewhere in the mix of this music. But yeah, that's one area of MAME I'd really like to see be improved, is the emulation of these sound chips this uses. Not because this is any good, but there are games that would benefit from it. That's our Arcana Heart game uses 2 of these sound chips for some reason. That doesn't run yet though. That's a. I wonder if that's a good dump, because that's weird nan-ROMs. Maybe that's just bad dump, but it's also an ARM-based system. And yeah, we don't seem to have anybody that interested in doing ARM-based emulation. I know it's got a NAND bootloader. It starts trying to load the game and then does something and doesn't load. Sun didn't get some copywriting. I'm assuming Sun were Korean, to be honest, but I don't know. It feels in some ways quite close to Wyvern Wing. That's the odd thing about it. You wonder if some of the same people worked on the code. But yeah, this is definitely a game of stolen assets. And things that take far too many shots. And underwhelming bosses, because they don't really have boss assets. They just have a normal asset with more health. Yeah, I do have this shot too if I hold down the button. I'm not just saying it seems like Wyvern Wings with the same sound system. It feels like there might be some engine code in common to me, but... yeah, this Hyperstone era in Korea was quite odd because obviously they were getting away from the era where half the games were just stolen code, but then they just made games that was, you know, bootlegging stolen assets in other ways while having original code. Oh well. We should continue now. It's not actually a terrible shooter. It's not a good shooter, but it's not actually terrible. I think the music would actually be really nice if the chip was emulated better, Peter. Yeah, I mean, these games do tend to rip Striker's power-up graphics. I mean, you see that in some of the plug-and-play games that got stolen power-up graphics. But yeah, to me that does seem very similar to Wyvern Wing. Tumble Pop hardware definitely got cloned a lot, and Gauss Panic, yeah, and Snow Brothers hardware got cloned a lot. Sound is super quiet on this one, by the way. Again, the sound emulation of this chip is just awful. You see the display, the level 1-1 thing at the top is very similar. You've got the charge bar at the bottom, which is kind of similar. I don't know, say that this isn't set any different in MAME. The volume levels in this the chip out emulation is just completely off. It's like the sound effects in the other game pretty much at the volume, the music and everything else is in this game. Maybe, you know, we're not using some of the bits for the volume control? I don't really know. It just seems like the balance is always off. And what should be loud is super quiet, and yeah, you get the idea. Anybody good at audio emulation? I'm guessing there's some low-hanging fruit with this one, to be honest. It's basically a MIDI playback type chip. Yeah, Semicom were a good developer. I mean, you know, I don't know if everything they developed was they actually developed or just published some of it. They had lots of different teams. But it's possible, you know, some of their code was stolen to make misncrft. It's possible that some of the developers worked on it. I don't really know. There are things about it that seem familiar, even if the game is, this is much more like Strikers. But yeah, this Semicom had some good games, and this is actually one of their better ones. A later one, but a really good effort. Better than, say, that Gaia shooter. Unfortunately, that Gaia shooter might be better if the vertical version gets dumped, because the horizontal version is just a bit of a mess where it's trying to compensate for being adapted to a horizontal screen. But the vertical version is not yet dumped, or at least if it is dumped, there's no public dump. I wonder if Jumping Pop had a license by that point. I really don't know. I mean, maybe Data East were just, you know, letting people use it at that point, because it's too obvious otherwise. It is just Tumble Pop with new backgrounds, and it was openly advertised, and even the name is like Tumble Pop. They weren't trying to hide it. It's an odd one. Yeah, this game is also known for having Metallica songs in the soundtrack, MIDI versions of Metallica songs, which I don't think you're going to get any copyright issues for because you can't hear them. Plus they're MIDI recreations and... yeah. Tumble Pop was released by Namco in Japan for Data East. It surprises me that Data East didn't release it themselves over there. Anyway, the point wasn't really to play this, so I'll just let my credit be over and see what else we can go with. I'm sure there was some other stuff I wanted to cover that I've... oh yeah, let's have a quick look at that one. Okay. Another non-playable recent addition here. Not really a game, but an interesting discovery. On Sega System 16 hardware, a redemption game called Wanpaku Fishing has shown up. This is from 1996 on System 16B, so this is well after the normal life of System 16. It doesn't work yet because the inputs aren't working. But, yeah, this is what happened to boards generally after there was no market value for them in regular games. They got used for redemption machines and kiddie rides and things like that. But it is odd to see a fairly modern Sega logo on a System 16 board. Now, one thing I have noticed about this, it does not use the right-hand 16 pixels. I don't know if the board would be somehow configured not to output those, or if the screen on this unit would just have them scaled off the screen, but the right-hand 16 pixels are always bad graphics or repeated graphics. What's the name of the shoot 'em up that steals Half-Life music and boss music is the first? I'm not sure. I should know that, but I don't know. Unless it's one of those. But yeah, so this isn't playable yet, but you know, kind of interesting to see a System 16 set turn up after all these years. It does make you wonder how many others are out there. So let's go there for some fishing action. I'm actually quite surprised System 16 got used for this, because the audio quality is quite poor. And you would think for this kind of thing you'd want good quality audio. But yeah, for this kind of redemption game, fishing seems a very common theme, I guess because it's so easy to rig. It's so easy to make it look like you're actually achieving something, and then it always just make you lose if the fish just gets away. I don't know what the keys are. I'm just hitting random keys that might open the map. The two places that old arcades go to die: kiddie rides and pervert games. It's popular in Japan, but you see it over here as well. You go to an arcade now and there'll be a bunch of fishing themed things because they say they're easy to rig. This is just a horn button, isn't it? So here's me failing to look me going like this and do air control. I don't know. I'm just letting it run, to be honest. But you know, presentation's pretty good. It's just the audio on System 16 isn't that good for this kind of thing. I'm sure Sega have never referenced this game anywhere ever again. Yeah, I think they had to squeeze a lot of audio into very little space with this. I think more things need calling out as gambling, to be honest. Too many companies still seem to be getting away with it. Anyway, yeah, that's that. That's a new edition, and I don't think anybody's ever going to want to play it, but it's there. Another thing I was looking at, I've been looking a bit at the Enterprise driver in MAME. Unfortunately, the Enterprise 64-128 are marked as working systems, but I've tested like 50 games looking for something to stream, and every single one has had significant issues. So personally, I don't think this should be marked as a working system. but it is. But, you know, I just show one of the things from it. Yeah, we do need to get that plug and play, Peter. So, the emulation at the moment does appear to be quite hopeless. Now, most of the games on here do seem to also be Spectrum conversions or CPC conversions, because it appears the hardware can be configured to basically do perfect Spectrum or CPC ports. And then there's the odd original game. The enterprise scene is a mess because basically, rather than disk images, everybody's just distributing the files as loose files in zips, and then these multi-game disk images with those files on in some places. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of actual original dumps. So I don't know. You see, it's already going a bit messy. And yeah, hopeless game. And then it gets to the game, and to be fair, it does run. But apparently it's half the speed it should be. I don't know. I've seen other videos of this that are meant to be from real hardware. And now the music's half speed and the game's half speed. At least the inputs work, because I've tried other things like the recent port of Green Beret from the CPC, where they added scrolling, because the hardware seems more capable than the CPC. But that doesn't have working inputs, and also has lots of graphical corruption. But yeah, the enterprise drivers I think probably need demoting, or at least a lot of work put into them. And the scene itself seems to need quite a shake-up because it's just, you know, it's just a mess. Nobody's preserving proper images. Even new games are being distributed as a zip file with the content of what should be on the disc rather than a disk image. And it just makes it really difficult because obviously MAME's not going to load a disk image that is just a bunch of files in a zip. So if you find new software, you've then got to convert it to actually be a disk image to load into MAME, and that's probably not helping get anything fixed. And I know Zypho, the Amstrad stream, was wanting to do an enterprise stream, and the only other enterprise emulator seems to be one from about like 10-15 years ago, and it doesn't really work very well on modern systems. So yeah, the enterprise needs a lot of love, which is a shame because apparently it was a really popular system in Hungary, so I'm surprised, you know, it's ended up in this state. So just going to kill it? No. It's a missing item. I'm not sure what to do now. Oh well, maybe that's as far as this game goes. Maybe the game is more hopeless than I realised. Or the bugs are so severe there's just something invisible. Yeah, a lot of the scenes used to be like that, but many of them have seen significant improvements. The Enterprise scene does not seem to have seen significant improvements. Okay, either there are no more levels, or I'm meant to be able to fire something, or I don't actually know. Anyway. But yeah, apparently that is running at half speed. Apparently. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely running slower than the first menu was. Unless the game's correct here and it's wrong in the other emulators and the real hardware footage isn't real hardware. But it does seem like a very powerful piece of hardware that can do all sorts of stuff really well. But anyway. Popular in Hungary from what I was told. €2 for the Euro computer scene. Yeah, the Enterprise 64 128. They were, I think they were UK-made systems that ended up popular in Hungary, as opposed to here, where nobody ever really had one. Let's just play something else. Right, so I was trying to look at Cosmos by Century Electronics last time, and the speech wasn't working. That did turn out to be an uninitialized variable, as we thought it was, so it should work now. There you see. Game system operation now, you see. So the speech will now reliably actually play in this. I mean, I think it's a fairly recent regression, because I don't remember speech problems in it before, but It doesn't make the game any better, but...
Bonus fuel, bonus fuel, bonus fuel, bonus fuel,
pretty terrible, in fact.
bonus fuel. Base temperature critical, base temperature critical.
Yeah, energy is temperature, as I said, so you have to, I don't know why it says energy, it's temperature. So you just have to stop firing for a while. And that becomes an avoid 'em up.
Base temperature critical.
A shoot 'em up that doesn't want you to shoot things. I mean, it's pretty hard to mess up a shoot 'em up, but honestly, I think they managed it. Looks like a 2600 game. I think 2600 games tended to play better.
Refuel activated.
Bonus fuel. Bonus jewels would be nice. See, now it feels like I'm on the second wave, but it still says wave 1 down the bottom, so again, that's confusing. Could be protection, unless this isn't the second wave. But after a refuel, you would have thought, yeah, that's second wave. But maybe maybe it's loot. Maybe that means an entire loot. I don't really know. I'll play it a little bit longer and see if it does anything. The way they throw the bullets at you, just like they're tossing them and going, here, have a bullet. It's odd. I mean, I guess it's meant to be like missiles launching, but it does just like they're tossing them out the window. Yeah, let's just toss a homing missile at you. Let's get some of these bonus jewels again.
Bonus fuel, bonus fuel, bonus fuel, bonus.
Yeah, it just stopped all the other sounds when it says bonus fuel.
Bonus fuel. Bonus fuel base temperature critical, base temperature critical.
Just have a warp button that slows everything down. Oh yeah, and because it's using tiles, the sprites overlap in every ways.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Apparently it's sped up again now. It takes a while to actually do that.
Base shut down.
So it takes ages after the countdown to actually speed up again. And now I'm avoiding things to get my temperature up too high. Oh yeah, and don't get too near the edge because you can get shot over there. You can literally get shot from off screen. Unfortunately, we don't know if it loops. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe eventually it would. Yes, please just end. So, has anybody ever got it to go to Zone 2? Is Zone 2 just like when it actually starts looping the patterns? Or, yeah, does anybody care? I don't know. But the speech works now. Shall we stick with CV a Century? Let's stick with Century. Let's play Wall Street. Oh, it's not going to get any better.
Game system operational.
What a title screen.
Save the stockbrokers.
I wanted Nintendo's Game & Watch Fire to be an arcade game. Oh, wrong way. The game system operation sample is more charming than the game. It's not a sample, it's got a speed chip. Actual speed chip on this hardware. Yeah, they don't even have to quite land in the ambulance, just close enough. They're even using the speech chip for the walking sound. Happy 1912. Then we get another round where you're running around as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo with tanks. I don't really know why. I mean, the maze at the bottom. It controls really badly. The money? But I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently I've had to change his shirt while I've been running around though. I don't know if it's meant to be a disguise, but you know, I do change colour. You thought the first bolt was bad. Gimme, gimme. No, not the tank. This game is a mess, isn't it, Mr. Fungi? Now I've got to save the stockbrokers again. Notice it slows down when it scrolls. This hardware is so good. Is this game based on acceleration? It might be something to do with money laundering, I don't know. Oh look, there's two of them now. It's actually got to the harder part of fire. I'm sure this is the quality content you all came to watch, isn't it? Lured you in with Namco System 10 games and Century Electronics games on. This is a game that did not make the list for the games I don't play very often because I didn't think it was good enough. I definitely don't play this one very often. You were sleeping, Extreme Wreck. Well, I hope this doesn't send you back to sleep. I mean, this awful racket probably will just keep you awake for days. Yeah, they can bounce off screen, which I think is safe. There must be a whole line of ambulances. Yep, this is the Century are the company that made Hunchback. I swear Hunchback was a complete fluke. I mean, Hunchback's not a quality game, but it's fun. I don't know why the stockbrokers have been thrown out the window either. I think this was made in the UK. I mean... Hunchback was ported to many computers. Ocean were very proud of having the license for Hunchback. But copyright 1982 Century Electronics. And many of the Century games were made in the UK, so... yeah. I mean, it manages to be slightly challenging in the sense that they will bounce in different directions. I don't know what the helicopter does and if you can hit it. I mean, that sounds painful to me, but no. Anyway, that was Wall Street. Never need I play Wall Street again. Pardon me. Oh, I don't have to play good games or bad games. I'm tempted with bad games. So yeah, there were some fixes to the Auric driver and stuff that was crashing before actually crashing MAME no longer seems to crash MAME, so that's good. It's a reference to supposed bankers' suicide rates after a market crash. That is in pretty bad taste. Yeah. Oh, let's just speed up. Now, I'm sure we know what ghostgobbler is. It's not just, killing your ears with loading sounds. IJK Software presents. Now, there was another Ghost game on the Auric, but the controls were really weird. Like, I don't know how the cursor keys are mapped on the Auric, but cursor down is right, cursor right is like up. Yeah, no. But this is ghostgobbler. Do I want instructions? No. Okay. So, here is Pac-Man in a very fleshy maze. I probably should turn the volume, shouldn't I? I think I set it to the lowest possible volume. I don't know why the maze is so flashy, like you're traversing somebody's intestine. But, yeah. To be fair, I have played far worse Pac-Man clones. It's unspectacular, but not unplayable. The volume is like Pac-Man bioatack. But yeah, that's what it was reminding me of, bioatack. That was going to be my next game. And the ghosts aren't just homing in on you, which is good, but I think they might... I can't tell if they seem to chase you. I think. I'm not quite worked out if they do. Because you get a lot of Pac-Man games where the ghosts are just fully random. You get lots where they're just homing on you relentlessly. But they do seem to move roughly towards you. I'm not sure. But obviously it doesn't have any of the nice things about Pac-Man, like, the cornering or the slowing down when you're eating dots. It's a very plain clone. I'm sure there was sound was loud last time I played it. I must have actually put the sound down to minimum. But there is some sound I can just about hear. I doubt it's got any cutscenes. I doubt it's got any different mazes. So, maybe I'd be surprised. But I think it's just going to be this, isn't it? It's just going to be a Pac-Man, a very simple Pac-Man clone. Reminds me of a BBC Micro look. That tended to be where you got these very bold colours. Still, it's better than that Micro Pac-Man thing I looked at the other week. That's dreadful. It's quite bad when you've got, Pac-Man games from this era that are more competently programmed than that Micro Pac-Man from a few years back. Can MAME play the scrolling Pac-Man? I don't know. On the HP 48G. I never tried. I might have to look into that. Oh, I got eaten. That was a great score. What is my name? No. Nobody. There we go. I am now nobody. Yeah, it's a serviceable Pac-Man clone. I mean, nothing special, but it's playable. So yeah. And, Fox video game license on this one, apparently. That's interesting. But yes, it did remind me of Taito's bioatack that Aussie guy mentioned. Is there another version without a Fox Games license of this? Yeah, that does sound a little bit complicated to get working then. I think at some point MAME's going to need scripts to try and automate some of that stuff just so that you can test it without having to have intimate knowledge of the system. Okay. This has very weird controls. Riverraid. This is kind of annoying because the higher you, it automatically moves you up the screen, but then when you're at the top of the screen, it scrolls a lot faster. You move back down to fire. Yeah, Riverraid's a nice little game though. Maybe I'll have a little look at Riverraid in there. Don't know which version of Riverraid. The precursor to Microcosm, yeah, that's an odd little FMV game. Reminds you of Fantastic Voyage, which was a Fox game. Up down controls the speed, yes. But it automatically goes up. At least it seems to, unless that's just a pad thing. I don't think it's... This just seems to be moving me forward automatically. As soon as I let go of down, it moves me forward, which is annoying. And I'm assuming it's not got any weird controls. No, it's standard controls. It's not going to be one of those dual stick cases that I was having problems with before. Taito got the Fox Games license as it's based on Fantastic Voyage. Ah, that makes sense. So it's Fantastic Voyage without the Fantastic Voyage title, basically. For some reason. If you've got the Fantastic Voyage license, why wouldn't you use the title? Demons and eggs in his blood. That look like cats, to be honest. Oh, I think I got somewhere. There we go. Now, this is the part the Pac-Man game is reminding me of. It just goes very pink. Right, I shoot them to freeze them and I can punch... Yeah, okay. Can heal each other, what? Ahem. Yeah, okay. Right. Riverraid. Let's start. I can never remember what's what. Okay, there we go. I'm still got... Can we actually turn that off? Sorry. No, MAME's still got the force blur thing on this, I think. But there might be an option to turn it off, but I can't see it. Yes, this is about not shooting the fuel. That's the first for a video game, not shooting the fuel. It's not scramble. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen orientation. As good as it looks as a vertical game, it's not meant to be a vertical game. To be fair, I think it looked better as a vertical game. Yes, you're meant to go over the fuel. The controls are quite delayed in this game, which is where some of the challenge comes from. You give sort of weight to your movements. Yeah, you can only fly over water. It's meant to be a canyon, I think, but I don't know why. Everything is basically one height. You can crash into boats, so you must be very low, but you can also crash into helicopters, so they must be very low. And you can't fly at any altitude to actually get out of the canyon. Also, you seem to be destroying the infrastructure of an entire country. Well, you would be if you're any good at the game. One thing is you can aim your shots. The shots follow you, so once you master that, it gets a bit easier. Oops. Give it one more try. I like my vertical scrolling games to be vertical though, that's the thing. I think Rainbow Islands would be really good vertical. I mean, there'd be less horizontal space to possible diamond types for a start. I need to collect more fuel, yes. I need to collect the fuel and stop flying like a maniac. I also need to stop crashing into everything. Yeah, there is more strategy than just blast everything. You have to time your shots because otherwise that happens. One more go. Pew pew. Hey cow. Welcome cow. Did you see the cow milking early? We did do a little bit on stream. In fact, we did 2 lots of cow milking because it came up in both of the versions of the game. Yes, you don't need 1,000 bullets on the screen for a vertical scrolling shooter to be tricky, as things like this prove. There's a bootleg called Riverraid 2, which is much harder. I don't think much harder is what I need. They're just very tall boats. Anyway. I will look at, on another stream, games with odd versions that are much harder. Things like that Raiden 2 set and Outzone and things like that. So I might, if I remember that one, do that stream. Because hacks that are different, but not even official releases sometimes that are different, is quite an interesting subject, because people tend to stick to playing one version of a game, and then they don't always look at the other sets, the other clones and things like that. So it's a subject that I'd quite like to cover at some point. Let's have a look at another Amstrad game, another recent release. This is Revenge of Transmoz, an arcade style game. Again, that's what I said. The boats are really tall, Mr. Fungi. Every overseas canoeing vision. I'm thinking hard on a difficult level, a more subtle level. I don't know. Konami's just unfair hard. So how deep can you go? It's Mr. Driller all over again. So this one does unfortunately have a slightly rough frame rate, but you kill the enemy, you collect the flame thing, and then you light up the candles. The flame things you pick up do fall through the first platform they pass through. You can't attack while jumping either, as far as I know. No. Which always strikes me as a bit odd, but that's the game design. You can have more than one flame at once. So go like that. Like that. There we go. Yeah, it could do with being a bit smoother. It's not unplayable. You do sort of get used to it. There we go. This is a very recent release from, I think, 2 weeks ago. This one you can download for free. It's one of those name your price ones, but your price can be, you know, you can put 0 in. Got a little raster split at the bottom there, from the low resolution high colour mode to the 4 colour mode, the status bar. Which splits in the right place, surprisingly. Sometimes MAME struggles with that on the CPC driver. Moves like a stop motion cartoon. So there are quite a few modern games that do. I mean, people have shown that you can do nice smooth sprites on the CBC, but I think it's easier to not have to worry about that so much. It's got full screen wraparound. What annoys me more is that, you know, you can't use the fire button when you're jumping, but that might just make it too easy, I don't know. Let's get that lit. And there we go. Area 2 catacombs. Now this is a sequel, because the original game was on the Spectrum. I think the Spectrum version moves a bit smoother. It's by the same development team, I think. think they just did their sequel on the CPC. So yeah, they do time out after a while. Just to get you. I don't like any of those ports of XX. They ruin the weapon system. But yes, that's a good example of significantly different versions. Oh, I got hit by it. And that's game over. Revenge of Transmoz, you see. Not a bad little game. Maybe not my favourite of the recent games of this style, but it's a playable one that looks really good. The visuals are good. It uses a nice high resolution. Well, I say high resolution, it uses one of the overscan modes. Pardon me, so you're using more of the screen, I think. Because a lot of CPC games use less of the screen, some of them use higher modes. It seems to run like... I don't think there's a problem with the speed of the game in MAME, Mate. Mate. I think that's just how it is. I mean, it seems to be the same when I've seen it on other streamers playing it who've used real hardware and standard Amstrad emulators. So I think that's just how it is. Okay, let's see if I can crash this one, because this is a game that is buggy because there's a bad ROM in it. But I didn't manage to crash it on stream last time. So this is Superwng by Wing, which is a pinball game. Unfortunately, if you get the bonus item, it does crash. But I don't know if we're going to manage that. Fortunately, we've never seen another board to get a redone. I guess it's quite rare. I just... And we're assuming it's a bad dump. Because, it seems to want to bank on some different code, and there's no valid code for it to bank in. Yeah, I can't remember. I see. At one point, I could easily crash it, but I think you just got to learn the angle to hit the thing at the top and hit it enough times. So that top left corner was the teleporty thing. You had to be at the second table, yeah. Developed by UPL. I do hope another one shows up so that we can verify it. I don't know, I'm sure I used to be able to crash it quite easily, but I can't even remember how to get to the second table. Space. It's a shame because as pinball games go, it doesn't feel too bad to play. I just know that as soon as you get to the second table, you just crash the game. Okay, that didn't go very well, did it? This is one of those where I should probably record an input file off stream to demonstrate the problem, where I actually get to the second table. That was mean. I guess you have to hit certain triggers to even unlock the second table. At the moment it can go up there and still doesn't go into the second table, or try to. It just wants me to fail, doesn't it? Unless there's a cheat to keep the ball in play, I could... There's no free balls if you lose your ball straight away in this one. I don't know why Bob is playing with my ball. He gets around. Pretty sure the ball went through the flipper. But yes, I think I'm gonna... I did try and play this before on the broken game stream and I failed to crash it then, so... you know, if you're really bad at pinball games, you might never know it's broken. I do wonder if how many games there are that are broken and people don't realise because they've never got to the point where they're broken. Because I'm sure there's plenty of games in MAME that basically nobody ever plays. But yeah, I don't think there's anything here that's going to make it easier for me. Live's not going to matter. There's most of the districts unknown. So yeah, I was hoping maybe I'd manage to reach the second table by pure luck and show you the crash, but I can't. But yeah, this is definitely one where we're going to need another PCB, in my opinion. But it seems quite rare. Why are we going all zerowing? We're really going all zerowing. Oh dear. Thunderblade's unprotected revision crashes sometimes after the third person city. I bet that's an original game bug. You know, you did all ask for it. Only in the Genesis version. The arcade doesn't have this. Of course, they had to have the obnoxious red flashing still. MAME has evolved a lot over the years. It's still evolving, Umberto. Say the word cat. Take off every zig. Ghosts and Goblins does have a ton of bugs. There you go. Toaplan original game. Easy, of course it's easy. Well, I'm sure if you had a copy, it wouldn't be locked. I've got a bunch of technically Genesis games from my Mega Drive back in the day. Most of them aren't region locked. Just the default CRT GM Deluxe Rodrigo with BGFX. So it's like Kirby, but with a shoot 'em up. But no, in the actual game, it doesn't seem to have the obnoxious red flash like the arcade does. And if you noticed, all the recent ports of the arcade game take that out because it is just so bad. But it does have red flashing in the intro, which, you know, they had to put it somewhere. But yes, you can suck up enemy ships basically, even big ones sometimes, like that one. Now we've got super bombs. Let's sell that one. This was definitely released in Europe. I remember renting it back in the day. Well, at least I remember renting it, so I assume it was released in Europe. I mean, we did get some imports. This and Hellfire. I wasn't really big on shoot 'em ups at the time, though. Yeah, it was released in Europe. I like the music in the arcade better. I dropped the pad on the floor, so that didn't help. I was just crashing into the ground because I dropped the pad. One thing I never understood is why the SNES got Puzzle Bobble and the Game Gear got Puzzle Bobble, but the Mega Drive didn't get Puzzle Bobble in terms of Taito releases. Yeah, you do have to know where the enemy's going to spawn in. Anyway, I was only playing that for the intro, which, you know. Toplan's worst game is probably BP and BBs. Are we not counting this one then? To be fair, it's probably not a game. Japan only. This has got an absolute ton of samples. Like, so. Strangely, this isn't getting any re-releases because it requires a heart rate monitor type thing. Guardian's okay if you play the Get Star version. The Guardian version is terrible. The original Get Star version is actually alright. So you put your finger in that thing. Enma Daio. I mean, it fits with the weird stuff we're playing earlier. Lie detector game, yeah. The ROM capacity alone would have made this very expensive. It's got tons of 6295 samples. But yeah, it's not really much of a game, is it? But it detects the sort of heart rate when you're answering questions, which obviously doesn't work in MAME. We've got red flashing again. So it's, I think the heart rate thing's mapped to a dial. Yeah, I don't know. Again, the inputs aren't really anything that makes sense to try and map, so yeah, you can't really play it in MAME as such. The current rate is like that. I tap the button slightly and it's like that. That is literally whatever the heart rate thing is monitoring. Yeah, it might be fun if you want a lie detector and can speak Japanese and the hardware still works, and you don't mind sticking your finger in something that like loads of other people have stuck their finger in. If you have a bad heart, it's unplayable. My keyboard is a very bad heart. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like this. Because, you know, this is apparently a good heart rate. I don't know. What if a seal tried to play this? I don't think seals are allowed in arcades. Oh, look. Yeah, it uses something like that. At the end of all these questions, it will grade you in some way, which is the only reason I'm still playing it. There we go. But yeah, apparently this was very expensive to develop, and the board is very expensive, and I don't think it was very good for Toplan, business-wise. I mean, Namco have odd things like X-Day 2, which I don't know if is a sequel or X-Day 2 is just the title. Got a tune though. Not many were sold. I'm not surprised. I'll just let the music play though. Because Toplan always have good music. Yeah. Anyway, I did say that. I don't know if this is similar, but yeah, Namco did this odd thing that I don't think is actually playable either. But I guess this is just Japanese arcades or amusements for you. This appears to have a joystick instead, at least. Yeah, personality analyzer type thing. I guess the Japanese really wanted to learn about themselves. I don't know if there's an original that's on Dump, or if 2 is just part of the title. Very good presentation for something that's not really a game. Another coin? Okay. Or enter your date of birth, I guess. Or something. I'm not really sure what I'm entering, in fact. That'll do. Not a date of birth, clearly. The emulation might not be perfect either. Keep that in mind. Eating. I am Pac-Man, I eat dots. I'm assuming that was a glitch. And it's just over. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's quite rare. Sometimes especially if a sequel comes out quickly. Although this like it was 2 years. If this is 93, 95, I guess the original was 93 then. But sometimes these things are just quickly replaced or aren't in that many arcades in the first place. So, it's like... is it the original Bishi Bashi that's still got bad graphics? Can't remember. Is it this one? Yeah. So, we've got the original Japanese Bishi Bashi. You would have thought this would be super common and easy to find. But there's a bad graphics ROM in it and nobody has ever found another board. Say one of the graphics ROMs is like half size, I think. All the content was duplicated in both halves, so the graphics are all corrupt. The first game in a famous Konami series, and no board has ever turned up to get a redump for the Japanese version anyway. Is the printer emulated? I don't believe so. But yeah, it's a shame. I think there is a Korean version of this that has correct graphics, but unless I'm wrong. Am I wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong? No, there's no clone of this one, in fact. So yeah, that's the only version of that is dumped is the Japanese version. It's got a bad graphics on. I think I was thinking of the sequel where there's a Korean version. Yeah, the Super Bishi Bashi's got a Korean version dump, but the original Bishi Bashi, there's only that one Japanese dump, and it's bad, and nobody's seen a board for it to redump it. So I don't know. They must be quite rare. They must be quite rare indeed. Let's go. When we were talking about Bariki 1 the other week, this is one that I forgot to mention that kind of reminded me a bit of is the karate tournament. Obviously this is karate, but again it's more of an attempt to do a martial arts styled game rather than use traditional fighting game. So, the karate tournament. As you can see, it already looks quite serious in the presentation. But, coin. Oh, now this was broken for a while in MAME. I think it's okay now. I think it's not really one I play much. Joystick up, high defense, middle, low is. You see, it's. Unless that's too fast there. Maybe it's not meant to speed through that section there. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But it's. It's strategic. It does feel like it's going a bit too fast at times, to be honest. Like a button's held down to skip things. I don't know. I don't have any original reference to this one. The animations aren't very realistic. Beated 1. Unless it's fast just because it's an arcade game, it feels off. But you can't play this like a fighting game. You have to try and play it strategically, which means you need a strategy, which I don't have. It does look like it's acting like a Capcom game when you're holding down the sort of button to speed through the bits you can't play. I don't know. I'm not overly familiar with the game or the driver, It's just one that came to mind when we were talking about games that are trying to be a bit different. And it definitely is trying to be a bit different. It does not want to be Street Fighter. Oh, the explosions are quite silly, aren't they? But yeah, there's certain things that aren't quite understood on this Metro driver hardware. I mean, I say hardware, there's lots of different pieces of hardware in the drive, which might be some of the problem. Not every board is going to be the same. But yeah, they just feel a bit fast, doesn't it? Nothing in there. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it's better. Maybe it's one of those that is better on an older version. It might have regressed. There aren't many cases like that, but it's possible. It's still not as bad as Brutal Above the Claw. Yeah, that Brutal game, the code is just a mess. I don't know if it intentionally runs that fast or not. It's just awful code. Hey Alex, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. That is worse than Jackie Chan, yes. I just thought I'd put that on because it's... Well, maybe it's not bad if you know how to play it, and maybe it is running a bit too fast. I have heard people say good things about the game. But it's probably one that you can't just jump into and try and play like a fighter. So, I don't know how to play it. I don't know when to block, I don't know when to attack, so all I'm doing is losing. The Jackie Chan game is over the top. The Jackie Chan game is one of those where at some point we really need to fix the zoom precision. Anyway. We are on 2 hours and 51 minutes, which means we've got about 10 minutes left. Let's put on something that's not a game again. sorry for all the not game things, but this is quite a recent dump actually. I think it was added in the previous version of MAME, and this is the world version of Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter, which is the kiddie ride thing. Again, this is only going to take about a minute to show, but it's interesting to see that there was a non-Japanese release of this. Much like there is meant to be a non-Japanese release of the popcorn machine with English voices that is not dumped yet. The current popcorn set you can set to English language text, but there is meant to be a proper English version with English voice ROM, which I've never seen in the wild, but people do have it apparently. But things surprise you every day.
Hi, my name is Sonic. Dr. Robotnik is trying to capture our friends at the space station. Let's take off through space to rescue them.
That is not what you expect Sonic to sound like. Yeah, maybe it was only used at events. You're right. What I want to know is, does the real English version still have curry popcorn?
Oh, Dr. Robotnik.
There you are, Sonic. If you want to rescue your friends, you'll have to down me first. Come on, you guys. Get going.
I mean, say it's not a proper game, it's just a kiddie ride. So, it doesn't really matter what you do. Got the big shots out. Yeah, Sonic sounds more like Robotnik. Robotnik sounds more like Sonic. It's quite a thing. But yeah, it's always good to see these things turn up, even if, it is a novelty. It's part of Sonic history.
It's just you and me. Whoa!
It just sounds like it's being tickled. So I'm sure this is what everybody came here to see.
You're off. Stop, Dr. Robotnik.
It's all over, Sonic.
It's all over. It says. Did this get referenced in Sonic Mania at all? I don't know. I know the popcorn thing did. Can't remember this being, but I might just have missed it.
You're gonna pay for this.
But yeah, it's a pointless little distraction, isn't it?
You've done a good job keeping space peaceful. He will surely be back, though. Let's fight against him together.
Sonic Station 07.
Let's check your results.
I got 3
You've done
stars.
great. Well, we'll
This was
see
done
you
from the
again.
Sega World in
Thank
Darling
you.
Harbour, Sydney, was it? That's an interesting little fact. I guess there aren't many left. Thank you for the facts there, MAME. Does sound like Buck Rogers, yeah. Anyway, I mean, there's not really anything else to show of this. I don't know if it's one of those like the Capcom one where there are a few different scenes, but I don't think the Sega ones from memory do. But I think it's always the same scenes repeated. You know, the Capcom one, the Hello Kitty one does mix it up a little bit. I think there's like 2 or 3 different scenes it plays through, but you know, randomized. But again, here we go. Sega Sonic Cosmo.
Sonic Cosmo Fighter.
Yes, that. Buck Rogers has a Mega Drive game too, which is always very well reviewed, but it's just so ugly. I don't know. It's one of those games where I guess you have to really care about the gameplay, because every level just looks the same, and every area, every level just looks the same, and it's like, this is boring visually. Anyway, there you go. Sega Sonic Cosmo Fighter. So, what shall we end with? What shall we end with? Small novelty for children. Yeah, it is a novelty. Should we go? Yeah, let's just end close to where we started. And go with Mr. Driller 2. Now, I have played Mr. Driller 2 on stream before, but at the time I did, the sound pitch was off. So, yeah, let's just quickly revisit it. It's a little bit louder than the others. So, this has got interlace mode turned on. Otherwise, the US and world versions do run in non-interlace mode by default, which is quite ugly. I quite like Balls 3D, but I want to go back to arcades for now. Anyway, we've seen them too before. I don't think I've got the stage unlocked on this, have I? No, I've not got the stages unlocked on this. Again, I will have to actually write down that unlock code, which is about 20 inputs long in test mode, to unlock the special stage. That was planned for another stream, but when Mr. Trilogy is emulated, I'll probably show off the code for this one. Yeah, crossing the Atlantic in a helicopter is absolutely fine, isn't it? I don't see anything wrong with that. Probably just a nuclear-powered helicopter. But yes, the sound is definitely better than it was the first time I streamed it. But yes, you have this to look forward to in the next main release, the end of the month release. All code so far has been submitted, including the stuff for the GAHAHA games. So, yeah. Air doesn't help when you've been squashed. But apparently the process of inflating you after you've been squashed does result in you having full air. Just general tip for life. I do like the way they mix up the graphical styles between the different parts of each level. It does help keep it fresh. Yeah, there he is. But don't get crushed by it now. That's what always happens. Oh well, I failed again. And we are now over 3 hours, and yeah, I don't like these streams to go too much over 3 hours, unless they're like extra special long ones. So I think we'll probably be calling it quits there. So that was just to finish off the stream. Right, let's get this page back up. So, yes, thank you to everybody. Better than Mr. Dig. Yeah, it was a bit better than Mr. Dig, wasn't it, Aussie Guy? Thank you for everybody who has joined the stream and been chatting away there. And I hope you've enjoyed the content and enjoyed seeing some of those Namco System 10 games at the start. That say thanks to Peter and Samuel that will be playable in the next version of MAME. And, of course, thanks to Windy Fairy too. You have to thank everybody involved. So, you know, thanks to Windy Fairy for working on the System 10 emulation side of things in MAME. Thanks to Samuel and Peter for decrypting them, which makes the work possible in the MAME side, because, you know, these things have to go hand in hand, really. If the first game, if Windy hadn't made the first few games boot, then Peter and Samuel probably wouldn't have got interested in trying to decrypt the rest of them, and Andreas, obviously his work before in decrypting the ones we had decrypted was important, even though it took several years before, well, about 6 or 7 years, maybe even more, before anybody actually got them working. So, yeah, it's been quite the journey for those System 10 games, and we finally seem to be reaching, I won't say the end of it, because there's still a lot of different boards to be found and dumped, especially those coin pushers. But we're reaching a good point with them, so it's going to be a good release, the next release, I would say. So yeah, thank you everybody. So I'm not going to go through the list of people and say thank you to everybody individually, because there's been a lot of you today, so that would take a while, but I do appreciate everybody being here, and say I hope that you've enjoyed the sort of random things, the bad things, the good things, me failing to crash games I wanted to show crashing, the things that aren't even games. It's just been a bit of a random stream. I will still try and do sort of this variation stream or sequel stream at some point, but it's a case of, you know, finding the time to do it. I just wasn't feeling it really over the Easter Sunday or Monday, so I can still do after sequels and rebirth streams. That might be the next one. It might not. We'll see. Depends preparation and all that. So thank you everybody, and good night, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. So.